Page 46. This is my planet Earth. It's got other names too, but okay, they put different words in it. All right, let's do that. 3/4 time, and let's just talk about this. Now this first line with these notes going crazy, I'm going to skip that for now. I know that's what you want to hear about it, but I want to talk about the actual piece. So that first line is an introduction. You see the double bars at the end of the line? That's an introduction. It's like sections of music. Well, this has an introduction. They don't give it a letter name. Section A is actually a measure 4, but it's called an introduction. You have a coda too, which this piece has at the very end. The last line on page 47, that's actually a coda. It's another section. Doesn't get a letter name, but it's a section. No, I haven't talked about that too much. A coda is just a tag, an extra little piece, a tail piece you put on the end. The piece actually ends on measure 17. The song is over there. Not all codas work that way. Some codas actually are very important. You wouldn't want to leave them out. But typically a coda, you don't have to, like an introduction, you don't have to play it. However, they're nice to play. Let's try them out. Now, measure 4, right hand. Let's get the notes and the fingering and all that. So you're here. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3. If these dotted rhythms are causing you problems, I encourage you to go back to a previous book wherever dotted rhythms are introduced and go through all that again. You should be able to figure these dotted rhythms out on your own by now. Measure 6, it's 4, 3. 4, 3. We just changed hand positions is what we did. 1 and 2. And then the crossing over. That's fine. Rest and then 2. E and a G. 1 and 2. Remember, I think I talked about you need to be able to do this. So work on it. And connect them too. 1 and 2. And then measure 15 going to 16. They say lift. I don't like that kind of fingering. I really don't. This is a beginner's fingering here. They're keeping you pretty much in a 5-finger position. That's fine when it works, but it doesn't always work, and I would encourage you to use a little better fingering here. So, I'm going to change the fingering slightly so we don't have to use the 5th finger twice. Here. You finished measure 14 here. So in measure 15, rather than using 3rd finger, I want you to move your hand up, leave the thumb where it is, move the hand up and use 2nd finger. Now you can use 5th finger there. You still lift up because it's here. Cross over. So I'm going to recommend you do that. Left hand, well, you have the chords. A C chord, measure 4. C chord. And then here, 2, 3. The thumb comes out. 1 and 2. And then on measure 9, you're 1, they say lift again. That's their way of telling you to move. 1, 2, just come up. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, rest. During the rest, you come back up. Or lift. 2, 3, 3, so forth. Measure 15. 1 and 2. 5/7 chord, 1. And at the bottom, the very last measure, the left hand, it's a treble clef. The left hand gets the high C up there. Put the hands together. Now let's go back and talk about the introduction. What this is a G chord, and that's a G, that last note. It's 4 letter lines above treble clef. Well, there's 2, 3, 4. It's a G. And it's a broken G chord, so rather than playing it blocked, we're going to play 1 note at a time. Like so. It's a 1 and 2 and 3 and I want to connect all the notes together. And they're telling you LH and RH, but really I'm telling you it's just here, just in these hand positions. You don't need the music. You got the first part memorized. That line, just play a G chord. Here, it's what we call an arpeggiated chord. When you play a broken chord from bottom to top or top to bottom in order, it's an arpeggiato. Arpeggio. Yeah, arpeggiated chord. Well, here we're going to go all the way up. Here. However, we want to feel 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I want to feel that. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. So feel these. And if you have to, exaggerate the accent. Till you can get it. When you play it for people, you don't do that. You feel these accents. They're natural accents. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See, it's like that. If I do it feeling it 2 beats per measure instead of 3, it's different. 1, 2, 1, 2. It sounds like triplets. It's a different feel. So make sure this does not sound like triplets. We want to feel the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, you've missed out on what an introduction is for, which is to set the mood of the piece. So I'm not going to set the mood of the piece at one thing, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then suddenly go into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's got to be the same. So make sure the feeling at that first line is a 1, 2, 3 feeling. So when we get to measure 4, it's still 1, 2, 3. It's the same. That fermata at the end of the first line, you just hang on to that, let it die away, sort of, except it's loud. But with a metronome, I would double it and hold it for 6 counts instead of 3, and then go on. And then here, put the hands to 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3. That's by itself. Get the idea? Now let's go down to the coda, measure 18. It's another arpeggiated chord, but this time it's C. C chords here, here, and then here. That last one is not broken, it's going to be a block chord, but these are broken. And then together. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. Like so. Although don't force the accents, feel it. And again, even with the last line, once you understand that's just an arpeggiated C chord, you don't really have to read all those notes. You're just going to play an arpeggiated C chord until you get to the end. Then you got to do the C chord. Block C chord. Now as far as the slurring goes for the articulations, I suggest you follow the sentences in the words. So if you have a comma or a period or whatever, you can lift up. The left hand, I would keep it all connected. So here at the beginning, I would connect. You can lift up here if you want. Lift up. Don't have to. You can play all that connected. All of that is one phrase. I'll leave that up to you and your teacher as to when you're going to lift up in the right hand. I don't like it real choppy, so I don't like short phrases. However, as I said, you can follow the words to lift up. But the left hand, keep it all connected. Then dynamics, well, for the introduction and the coda, it's both hands because there is no melody to speak of. When you get to measure 4 and the piece starts, then the dynamics apply to the melody, which is going to be the right hand. Moderately loud. Keep these chords soft. Even this is soft. When you get to measure 14, then they're telling you to lift up in the right hand, but connect the left hand. And that's loud. And a retardando, you can slow down. However, I would encourage you to only slow down the second time. Don't slow down the first time, especially if people are singing, because you will mess them up. They don't, unless you're conducting them, they don't know what's going on. So just keep the tempo, the speed steady until the very end. Then you can slow down. And And then when you get to the coda, measure 18, go back. They don't give you an odd tempo, they should have. Go back to your regular speed, however fast you were going. Play the coda the same speed as the introduction. Then we add pedals. We do all this without pedal first. Make sure the hands are doing what they need to do. They're pedaling the introduction and the coda and a little bit at the measures 9 and 10 and so forth. I don't agree totally with what they're doing there, so let's talk about it. For the introduction and the coda both, I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the first note. I'm going to hold it down all the way to the end. I'm going to lift it up with the hands so there's silence before I go to measure 4 or at the end. So it's here, up here. It's like, da-da, here we are, get ready. And then I would lift the pedal with the hands, and then we go on. I disagree with that completely. I wouldn't pedal any of that except for measure 10. On measure 8, you don't. I want to hear that. It's like, and I want to hear the rest in the right hand. However, when we have this, a measure 10, when you have repeated chords, we can't connect them. It's very choppy. So in order to connect them, we have to use pedal. So there I would use pedal for that measure. And I lose the rest in the left hand. Don't need a rest there anyway. But I would rather connect him all the way through to the next measure, all 4 of those beats. And then lift it up right before, actually you can lift it up as you play the 8th note or right before it, either one, because at that point it's done. So to play the line, starting with measure 8, it's here. Like so, that's how I recommend you do it. And then on measure 12, again, I want to connect those. So I'm going to pedal the 4 beats there together at the measure 12 and 13. I can lift it up as I do the 8th note. And then for the coda, we pedal it again just like we did the introduction. That's my impression of the pedal. That's what I'm recommending. I'd like to play this with you very slowly to double check all the notes and rhythms and everything. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I can't slow down anywhere. I'm going to double the value of the fermata note and hold it for whatever. And I am going to do the repeat. So we're going to do the whole thing start to finish. So I'll give us 3 counts. Let's just do it together, slowly. 1 and ready and go. And 1. 1, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Repeat. And 2. 1 and 2. 1, 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 2, 3, off.